Hello there, welcome to the DILR of the day sessions. In this video I'm going to be solving one of the DILR caselets. This is an interesting caselet and it will really pose you to think. So let's just get on with it. This is a challenger set. In Venice there is a network of canal used for transportation. So fine, and one can hire boats to travel along them, in particular the highly popular route from A to B. So you can see A is over there and B is over here, comprises of a set of canals shown below with arrows indicating the permitted direction of travels. The number on each route indicates the fare that one has to pay a boatman to traverse that route. In addition, the government of Venice may choose to charge a levy at any of the junction points P, Q, R or S. Basically these are your tolls, right, along the way for purpose of traffic regulation. Nothing difficult, it's pretty self-explanatory. Now let's go to the next part of information that is present over there. Okay, here it says that the tourist may generally follow the route where the total cost is minimum. If the total cost along two or more routes is equal, then the tourist traffic is split equally between these routes. What does that mean? Okay, so first of all, let's make sense of the fact that if the total cost along more than two or more routes are equal, then the tourist traffic is split equally between those routes. So that means that tariff is going to be one of the factors to make the routes equally populated. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and tourists have this habit of generally following the route where the total cost is minimum. Obviously this comes from, this is something that we do all the time, right? Now if you look at the questions are, if the government of Venice decides to impose a levy of 3 units at each junction point PQRS, then the minimum cost of travel from A to B will be. The second one also you can see if. The first one also started with if and if. So all these questions are if questions. What this basically tells me is that I cannot do much with the set itself. We have to look at each questions individually, trying to answer it. Okay, so let's do one thing. First of all, let's make sense of the data, right? So if you pay attention, you have to first of all categorize the total number of routes that are possible in this question. How can we do that? So first of all, let's enlarge the picture a little bit so that I can visualize it properly. Now imagine that you are standing in this position A, and from A how many routes can you take to B? So starting at A, I know I can go at Q, I know I can go at P, and I know I can go towards R. Okay, now from Q there are two possible routes. From P, if you realize, there are again two possible routes, and from R there is only one possible route. So if you just understand that 3 into 2 becomes how many? 6. So there will be in all 6 possible routes that will be there from A to B. Now let's enlist those routes. Okay, so from A to Q and from Q to B directly, but from A to Q I can also take Q to S and then B. This is also a possible route. Alright, so all the possibilities is exhausted with Q. Now let's think about A to P. A to P, and then from there you can go to Q, and from Q you can go towards B. From A to P you go, from P you can go towards Q again, but this time from Q to S and then B. I hope that made sense. This time around A to P and then from P to R. Okay, and from R to S and then from S to B. There are 3 routes for P, and now let's check out for R. So from A to R you can see you can go from A to R and from R to S and S to B. That's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, total 6 routes are possible. Do I have to do this listing business? Yes, you have to, because only then you will make some sense. Now let's write the fare for each of these routes. So for A to Q, you can see that the fare is 13, Q to B is 7, A to Q is again 13, Q to S is 4, S to B is 2, A to P is again 7, Q to B is 7. Okay, and then I have A to P, P to Q is 4, Q to S is 4, and from S to B I have 2. This is 6 and this one is 2. You have to do this thing very let's say patiently, so that you don't make any mistake. Okay, otherwise your calculations will become erroneous. Okay, A to R is 12, R to S is 6, and from this one it is to S to B is 6. Okay, now please understand, these are your first bit. The total price, if you have to list down, will be how much for A to B via Q and only Q, no other route. So you went from A to Q and Q to B. It is going to be 20 plus Q. Now this is important because there will be a component of the toll booth that they have mentioned, that this is the fare of the boatman. There is a component of the toll booth also. This is how much? This is going to be 15 and 4, 19 plus Q plus S, and this is 18 plus P plus Q. This one is going to be how much? 8, 10 and 17. So this is 17 plus P plus Q plus S. This one is going to be 10, 12, 18. 18 plus P plus R plus S. And then this one is again 18 plus 2 is 20 plus R plus S. Remember that there are no toll taken at the junctions B and A. So these are your free junctions. This was the only crux that one needed to understand. Now I think we are in the position to answer the questions. So I'll do one thing. I'll take one questions at a time. Okay, I'll decrease the palette a little bit so that we can see each and every questions clearly. Okay, I hope you can see the questions clearly. Now we'll answer them. The first question is, if the government of Venice decides to impose a levy of 3 units at each of the junction point PQRS, then the minimum cost of travel along A to B will be. Now if you see, the answer to this question will be heavily dependent on these values. These are the fares, okay, or these are the tariffs also, you can say. And remember that the tariff is only dependent on the levy, that is of 3 rupees. So because I have variables Q and S, P and Q, I just need to see only one of these routes that have only one variable, and that one is this. Okay, I hope you can see that. So this is the one that you will considering, and because they are charging 3 rupees, the answer to that question directly becomes 23. So 23 has to be the answer. Okay, now let's go to the next question, shall we? So in this question, basically they have asked us, if the government of Venice wants to ensure that there is no traffic on the canal QS, they don't want any traffic. So this one has a QS component. Where else do I see a QS component? Hold on. The QS component is seen in the second route. Okay, and in this route, I guess, AP QSB, and no other routes has a QS component. And the government wants to ensure that there is no traffic on QS while equal traffic passes through the canal PQ and PR. Where is PQ? PQ is over there, PQ is over there, and I can also see a PQ over there, but this is not allowed, so I will eliminate this one, and I will eliminate this one. And where else do I see a PQ? There is no other PQ, and there is a PR. I need to check out for PR, so there is a PR over there. So only two routes have this PR component. Okay, there is no other routes that have the PR component. Now you need to understand, the government is looking to make sure that the equal traffic passes along the canal PQ and PR. How can they do that? They can do that only when the tariff is equal in these routes. Okay, so you have to first of all see, this one is one of the tariff components, and this is the another tariff component. So if these two routes become equal, that is 18 plus P plus Q, that is equals to 18 plus P plus R plus S. 18 plus P cancels, you get a Q is equals to R plus S. Now this was one of those, very interesting equation solving type of a scenario. So you could actually make sense. Now Q, and please understand the feasible levies in that order P, Q, R, S in order could be. So that means the options are given in that order, P, Q, R and S. So what you can do at this point is you have to check out for the option. So we'll check the first option. The first option, if you pay attention, has P as 1, Q as 5, and the other two, R and S, as 3 plus 2, 5. So the first option actually is satisfying. Let's see if the others are satisfying. So Q, that is 5, is not equals to 3 plus 1, that is 4. Again 5 is not equals to 7, and 4 is not equals to 3. So this has to be the answer. I hope that made sense. So the first two questions have been answered very easily. Now let us look at the third question. Okay, so now we will be looking at the third question, right? So the third question, the saying that the government of Venice wishes to ensure equal traffic along all the possible route. How is it that they ensure equal traffic? They ensure equal traffic by making the tariffs equal. Then a feasible set of levies at all levies at PQRS in that order could be fine. So first of all, let's try to understand two things. If I need to make sure that all the routes are have equal traffic, they should have equal tariff. That means that the component 20 plus Q and the component 19 plus Q plus S needs to be equal. If that is the case, I get 20 plus Q equals to 19 plus Q plus S, and you can pretty well see that this 19 goes to that side, becomes a 1, so S is equals to 1. So this directly gives me some idea that it has to be between 2 and 3. So these two are eliminated. Okay, now how can I predict between the 2 and 3 which one will be my answer? So at this point it is better to just go along with the option. So just take the option number 2 and check for two routes. Okay, so here it is given PQR and S as 2531. So let's just check it for this one, and let's say this one. So because we need to make the tariffs equal, this is going to be 19 okay, 19, 20 and 25. This is going to be 25, and for 20 plus Q also this is going to be 25. Now this satisfies. Let's check for one more. So this is this one, 18 plus P plus Q, and again with this one 20 plus Q. This becomes 19 sorry, we are checking for the 18 plus P plus Q, right? So this is becoming 20 plus 25 and the 25, correct. Let's do one thing where R is separate. So let's check for this one. This has a component of R, or you can actually check this one also. So this is 20 plus R, that is 3, 23 plus 1, 24. And if that is the case, 20 R is 3, right? 23 plus 1, 24. This one is coming out as 24. However, this one will come out to be 25. That is not going to be the case. That means, in fact, this is wrong. This has to be the answer. Let's check. If R is 4, then this becomes 24 plus 1, 25. So yeah, the fourth one basically satisfies the condition. So that is how you could have eliminated this one also. Okay, now we will look into the fourth question, and the fourth question basically tells us if the route PR suffers a temporary blockage. First of all, let's look at the PR route. So this is the PR route. This suffers a temporary blockage. Fine. The government wants to ensure equal traffic through the booths PQ, R, and S. Right? They want equal traffic from these booths PQ, R, and S. So please understand one thing. The people who will walk along A towards P will go to this direction. This is going to be equal. Okay, the number of people who will start traveling from A towards P will go from P to Q. These are the equal number of people, and the ones who are going from Q, they have two direction. Either they can go Q to B or they can go from Q to R. But please understand that we also need to ensure that equal number of people or equal traffic passes through these toll booths. I need to zoom in a little bit so that you can understand this well. Okay. So the first thing that you should understand is that the possibility of equal traffic along these paths is only satisfied when at P I don't get a surplus, at Q I don't get a surplus. Now what do I mean by a surplus? Surplus is basically getting overcrowded at Q. How can Q get overcrowded? Because of this route AQ. If people start traveling from A towards Q, then it can get overcrowded, and then equal people will not have traveled from A to P and P to Q, and from Q they would go from Q they will go to B, but because they have overcrowded themselves because of this route AQ, equal traffic will not pass through this route. Similar situation will happen at this junction S. Equal people have walked or traveled along this route AR, and those equal people will travel along this, but an overcrowded janta can come through this route QS. So effectively, if you pay attention, what the question is asking you to do is the question is asking you to eliminate the routes. Which routes? Let's understand. I would have given you some more time to think on this or ponder on this, but I guess it is not that much difficult to realize that all you need to do is eliminate these routes, and this is anyways not available. So please pay attention. PR is not available, this is not available. AQ I am saying you can't use because if you use AQ, then overcrowding will happen at Q, and that is something that we need to eliminate. Is there anything else that I can do? There is a PQ route. Okay, and please pay attention to this part, QS. Again, QS is something that you need to eliminate, so this is also something that one can eliminate. So we are eliminating this part, we are eliminating this part, and we are eliminating this part. So we are effectively left with just two routes, APQB. So this one APQB and the other one ARSB, ARS and B. And if I need to make sure that these routes are following the levy, I need to make some sense, right? So this can be now written as P plus Q, or let's say 20 plus R plus S. 20 plus R plus S is equals to 18 plus P plus Q. I hope that made sense. This means P plus Q has to be 2 plus R plus S. Let's see if this thing is true with the options. Again, we have to make use of the options. I'll rewrite it in the question palette itself, don't worry. So let me just, okay, so I have highlighted the places which we need to consider, so this one and this one. Now let's use it. So as I just now mentioned, P plus Q is going to be equals to 2 plus R plus S. Now again, this is something that you should have got, that you should get from the option. So let's check. P plus Q, that is 5. 3 plus 2, 5. So this is possible. 5 is equals to no, this is not possible. 6 is again 5, not possible. And 5 and this one is possible. Fine. So now two contenders are possible. Now we have a problem. Now we'll have to again do some things to eliminate the possibility. Let's see what I can do. At this point, if you just check out the value, if you just substitute the value and substitute, let's say, you know, I don't know anything, so I'll just substitute the first one, PQRS, in that order. So 4 1 1 2. If that is the case, this becomes 18 19 and 18 plus 4 22 23. So this becomes a 23. What about this one? This one becomes 21 and 23. Fine, this is 23. This works. And let's check for this one. So with this one I get the okay, so let's do this PQRS. So this is going to be again how much? 4 18 plus 1 19 19. Okay, what am I doing? I have to check 18 plus P plus Q, right? So P plus Q happens to be 5. 18 plus 5 is 23. Okay, this is satisfied. Let's check for this one. This is again how much? This is 20 plus R plus S, right? So 20 plus R plus S, that is 23. This is also satisfying. Okay, if I pick both the options, okay, you would realize one thing. This becomes a very difficult question, and that is why perhaps they have kept it as one of their challenger questions. So what can I do? Basically, at this point, what I can do is let's check if I can do something about this. So you know the ways that we, or the pathways that we eliminated, A, Q, B, that gave me 20 plus Q. If I substitute the value of Q from the first option as 1, the first one becomes a 21. Okay, obviously the other option, the fourth option, gives me 23. Okay, and in that case this root would have been 24. If I use the value from option number 4, I get this value as 24. That means this, anyways, the, you know, I was supposed to increase the levy, and I am increasing the levy. These two routes I'm getting 23 rupees. This one I'm getting 24. So people will not go in this route. But with the first option, the tariff at that route will become 21. So I think because of that reason, people will prefer AQB and they will not eliminate. So remember, we have eliminated it based on the fact that you cannot take the QB route. Let me take you back to the picture to make things clear. We have said that you are not allowed to go from A to Q, and that can only happen if you impose a heavy levy one way or the other at one of the juncture at Q. Okay, so if Q is more, so if Q is more, here Q is more, Q is 4, that thing can happen. Also, you could have arrived at this thing logically, but then you get the point, right? Now the last question. Okay, so this last question is not going to be that much difficult. Okay, the last one is actually easy. So let's do one thing. Let's make some sense of the question. The question says, if the government wants to keep the tourist cost to the tourists as low as possible and yet ensure that all the possible routes gets equal traffic. Do we know the funda for equal traffic? Yes, tariffs needs to be equal, and then what is the cost a tourist would incur on each of these routes? Agenda is to, please understand, the agenda is to ensure that the traffic is equal, or the traffic needs to be equal along all possible routes, and the cost to the tourist is as low as possible. Now obviously start from the options. This is pretty much an option game. So if I let's say let's do one thing. If I just take the toll booth levies as PQRS and I start with the first one and I say that I just want to keep it at the lowest, 21 rupees only, that means the first one is satisfied with that logic. I can, let's say I just charge a levy of rupees 1 and that is fine. Let's check if this is true for this one, this route also, AQSB. So 19 plus Q plus S, Q is already 1, S, let's give S also 1 rupee, so 19, 20, 21. So this is also satisfied. Let's do check for this one. Can I make sure that all the possible routes can charge 21 units, that is the as low as possible? 18 plus, let's say Q is 20 and P as 1, so I can do that. So 18, 20, 21, so I can, let's say, give P as 2, or I can also think of it in terms of 18 plus 19 plus 2 is 21, so this is also satisfied. Now this one, let's check P plus Q plus S. P, Q and S is already 4, 17 plus 4 is 21, so this satisfies. The last one, P, R and S, this is 20, 21, there is a component of R over there. So now the question would be that, is 21 not allowed because the government has to charge something at this point? And the answer to that question would be no. The government may choose to levy at fees. So the government may choose to give you 0 rupees also. In that case, this would satisfy this one also and this one also, making the option number 1 correct. This was an interesting set, of one that is a little difficult also. So if you did understand and if you have let's say made sense with this one, great. Okay, so before I end the session, I just wanted to say one thing. Okay, so before I conclude the session, I just wanted to say one thing. I will try to be regular in uploading these videos, and I'll try to give my best in order to explain the concepts in a comprehensive manner. There is no time limit that I keep on my mind so that I can explain everything in detailed and elaborative way. If you guys have a problem with the timing and anything, you can actually ramp up the speed to 1.5x, 2x and so on and so forth. I'll stay at my comfortable pace. With that being said, this is me, Somajit, signing out. Thank you very much.